My beloved child, listen carefully, because what I am about to reveal is not ordinary, and it is not random. Time has narrowed. The veil has thinned. Only a few seconds remain in the spiritual realm, and heaven itself is watching to see if you will respond. This message found you because your name has already been spoken aloud in the courts above. Yes, you. Not a symbol. Not a crowd. Your exact name has been written, sealed, and carried forward as a blessing that was delayed until this precise moment. Do not assume this is coincidence. Do not tell yourself you will return later. Later is not promised for this message. There is urgency here because something was about to be removed from heaven's record, and Archangel Michael stepped forward on your behalf. He did not come in fear. He did not come in chaos. He came with authority, with fire wrapped in obedience, and with a warning that time had compressed. Hear this clearly. What God prepared for you was scheduled to be released, but heaven required recognition, a response, an opening of awareness. That is why you are here now. Beloved, you have been watched more closely than you realize, not in judgment, but in preparation. For a long season, you felt overlooked, delayed, or quietly resisted. Doors almost opened and then stalled. Words almost arrived and then vanished. You sensed movement around you but could not explain it. That was not confusion. That was alignment forming in silence. Archangel Michael has been standing at the edge of your assignment, sword lowered, but eyes fixed. He was not waiting for your perfection. He was waiting for your attention. Only 15 seconds were left, not in earthly time, but in spiritual permission. The window for release was narrowing, and heaven needed you to see. This blessing carries your name because it cannot be handed to another. It is tailored to your obedience, your endurance, and the battles you survived without applause. Let me tell you what this blessing is not. It is not luck. It is not a reward for effort alone. It is not something you could earn by striving harder. This blessing is a correction, a restoration, a divine override of what was meant to end quietly. Something was written about you that did not match God's intention. A limitation, a ceiling, a false ending, and Archangel Michael was sent to intervene before that record finalized. You may ask, why now? Because now, you are ready to receive without shrinking. Before, you would have questioned it, minimized it, shared it with the wrong hands. But now, your spirit has matured. Your discernment is sharper. Your silence has become strength. Listen closely, because this next truth is weighty. There are names written in heaven that are revisited only a few times in a lifetime. Each revisit marks a turning point, a redirection, a reclaiming. Your name was revisited again just moments ago. That does not happen casually. Archangel Michael does not move without command. When he urges, it is because delay becomes disobedience. When he warns, it is because removal is near, not punishment, but expiration. Some blessings are time-sensitive because they are connected to other people's breakthroughs. Your yes unlocks more than your own life. This is why your spirit feels alert right now. This is why your heart is beating differently. This is why distractions suddenly feel loud. Heaven is drawing a boundary around this moment. Beloved child, you are not behind. You are being preserved. There was an attempt to erase momentum from your path, an attempt to make you believe the season had passed. But heaven does not forget what it authors. What was almost removed has now been reactivated, because you opened this message. Do you understand the weight of that? Awareness itself is obedience. Archangel Michael stands as a witness that you did not miss it. He has already raised the signal. The record has been marked again, not as expired but as ready. However, hear this with reverence. This blessing responds to alignment, not anxiety. You do not chase it. You prepare space for it. You do not demand it. You receive it with steadiness. Right now, something is being rearranged around you. Conversations you have not had yet. Opportunities not yet visible. Protection that will make sense later. You will look back and realize this moment with a hinge. And this is only the beginning of the message. What follows next will explain why this blessing had to carry your name specifically, and what will happen if you try to ignore it again. This is where the mystery deepens, and where many people lose focus. My chosen one, take a breath and stay with me, because now the message moves from revelation into responsibility. What heaven revealed was not meant to impress you, it was meant to position you. When Archangel Michael urged you to open this, it was not only to inform you of a blessing, but to awaken you to a shift that has already begun. The moment you leaned into this message, something responded in the unseen. That response is still unfolding. You must understand this clearly. Blessings with names on them behave differently. They do not wander. They do not circle endlessly. They arrive when recognition meets readiness. That is why heaven created urgency around this moment. Not because God is anxious, but because timing is sacred. There are intersections in life where delay creates detours, and Archangel Michael was sent to guard you from one of those detours. There was a pattern trying to repeat itself in your life, a familiar cycle of almost breakthrough, almost peace, almost stability. And every time, something subtle would interrupt the final step. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly. That pattern has now been confronted. The reason you feel this message so deeply is because the interruption hath been identified, and heaven is closing that door permanently. Archangel Michael does not only fight external battles, he enforces divine boundaries. And right now, a boundary is being drawn around what belongs to you. This blessing carries your name because it also carries your authority. You are being trusted with something that requires discernment, not explanation. Some things will not make sense to others, and that is intentional. Beloved, let me speak this gently but firmly. If you had ignored this moment, the blessing would not have vanished forever, but it would have waited for a future version of you, one shaped by more pressure, more resistance, more refinement. God, in His mercy, is choosing the shorter path this time. That is fatal. This is why your spirit must remain attentive, not fearful, not rushed, just attentive. When heaven moves quietly, it expects maturity in response. You will know as small confirmations begin to surface, words you overhear, numbers that repeat, people reaching out unexpectedly. These are not signs to chase. They are markers to acknowledge. Now hear this instruction clearly. Do not announce everything that is coming. Do not seek validation for what God has already approved. Silence will protect what noise would dilute. Archangel Michael is not sounding a trumpet here. He is guarding a transfer. And while you are here, receiving this message, I need you to understand something important. This space, this channel, this moment of connection is not accidental either. Messages like this reach people across nations, across time zones, across belief systems. When you engage, when you like, when you comment, when you share, you are not helping an algorithm. You are helping alignment. You are signaling to heaven that this word matters, that it reached fertile ground. If this message resonates with you even slightly, let that be known. Leave your presence here. Write a comment, even if it is just one word. Share this with someone whose spirit feels heavy lately. Subscribe so you stay connected to what is unfolding. This is not about numbers. This is about continuity, about staying in the flow of what God is releasing in layers. There are people who were meant to hear this message but will only find it because you interacted with it. That is how God moves in this season, through obedience that looks simple but carries weight. And listen carefully to this next part, because it matters more than you think. The blessing that carries your name is not only about provision, it is about positioning. Where God is taking you next, clarity will be required. Not everything will be explained upfront. Some steps will only reveal the next step after obedience is shown. Archangel Michael stands ahead of you, not behind you. He is not reminding you of your past battles. He is preparing you for future ground that must be entered cleanly, without hesitation, without second-guessing what God already confirmed. There will be a moment soon where you feel prompted to act differently than before, to speak when you usually stay silent, or to remain silent when you usually explain. That moment will be connected to this message. When it comes, trust the nudge. And before you let your attention drift, hold on, because what is coming next explains how this blessing will begin to show itself in your daily life, not in dramatic ways, but in undeniable ones. This is where everything becomes real. Beloved soul, now the message deepens, because revelation without understanding can feel heavy. What heaven revealed earlier was the announcement. What you are about to hear now is the explanation. This is where clarity replaces confusion, and where fear loses its grip. Archangel Michael did not come only to warn you of time. He came to show you why this blessing was protected so fiercely. There is a reason your life has not followed a straight line. There is a reason delays shaped you instead of destroying you. There is a reason certain doors closed even when you prayed hard for them to open. Heaven was not denying you. Heaven was refining you. This blessing required a certain version of you, one who would not misuse it, rush it, or surrender it under pressure. You have been trained in endurance without being told you were in training. That is why you survived moments that should have broken you. That is why you adapted instead of collapsing. Archangel Michael was assigned not only to defend you from what you could see, but from outcomes you could not yet imagine. Hear this carefully. What is being released now has generational weight. It is not flashy on the surface, but it alters the direction of what comes after you. That is why timing mattered so much. If released too early, it would have been exposed. If released too late, it would have missed its divine alignment. This is why heaven moved urgently. There was a narrow corridor of permission, and you stepped into it by awareness alone. Some people miss blessings not because they are unworthy, but because they are distracted. You were not distracted. You felt the pull. You listened. That choice mattered more than you know. Now let me reveal something that may surprise you. This blessing does not arrive as one single moment. It arrives in stages. The first stage is internal. A shift in how you see yourself. A calm confidence replacing old doubt. You may already feel it. A quiet knowing. A steadiness that was not there before. The second stage is relational. Certain connections will either strengthen or fade naturally. A drama. Of confrontation. Just alignment doing its work. Do not resist this. What leaves now is making room for what must arrive whole. The third stage is tangible. Brevian. Opportunity. Stability. But not in the way you expect. God will use ordinary channels to deliver extraordinary favor. That is why you must stay observant without becoming anxious. Archangel Michael's role here is not to rush you, but to guard the process. You are not late. You are not behind. You are right on time. There is something else you must know. This blessing responds to faith expressed through action, not just belief. Action does not always mean movement. Sometimes action is agreement. Sometimes it is alignment. Sometimes it is simply staying present when it would be easier to disengage. And this is why your engagement here matters. When you stay, when you listen, when you participate, you are signaling readiness. You are saying, I am here. I receive. I am aligned. Heaven responds to that language. Now, let this sink into your spirit. You are not being tested right now. You are being trusted. Trusted to steward what is coming with wisdom. Trusted to recognize it when it arrives quietly. Trusted not to rush the unfolding. Archangel Michael does not place trust lightly. His presence here is confirmation that heaven considers you reliable. As this message continues beyond this moment, you will begin to notice subtle but undeniable changes. Your reactions will shift. Your patience will deepen. Your discernment will sharpen. These are signs of internal alignment. Do not dismiss them. Before we move forward, there is a sacred activation that must take place. This is not for everyone. It is for those who feel this message settling deeply, not emotionally, but spiritually. Type I receive divine alignment in the comments if this message is speaking directly to your spirit. Lesson code 444 is now released over your life. I am speaking to those who feel the weight of this word and know it is not just for them, but for many others who are still waiting in silence. When you support this work, you are not supporting a channel. You are helping God place messages like this into the hands of souls who are one moment away from giving up. Scripture declares that when you sow into good ground, your harvest will overflow, pressed down and running over, and this is God speaking directly to you right now. I feel led to tell you this. Your obedience in giving becomes oil in the lamp for someone else's breakthrough. This message about a blessing with your name on it must travel farther than you can see, and your support becomes the wind that carries it. Do not hesitate, because this is a prophetic moment of response, not a transaction. As you give through Super Thanks membership, with a PayPal link in the description, I speak blessing over your household, your decisions, and your future. Release your seed now, and watch heaven respond with acceleration and protection. My beloved one, now the atmosphere shifts from explanation into preparation, because what heaven has revealed must be carried correctly. Archangel Michael does not simply announce blessings. He ensures they are received without distortion. This is the stage where many people misunderstand what God is doing and accidentally resist the very thing they prayed for. That will not be your story, because awareness has already been awakened within you. Understand this truth clearly. When a blessing is protected this long, it often arrives disguised as responsibility before it appears as reward. That is not punishment. That is trust. God is not testing your faith right now. He is shaping your posture. The way you hold yourself in this season will determine how smoothly the blessing settles into your life. You may notice an unusual calm mixed with alertness. Not excitement, not fear, clarity. That is intentional. Emotional highs fade quickly, but spiritual clarity sustains. Archangel Michael is guiding you into steadiness, because what is coming cannot be sustained by emotion alone. It requires grounded faith. let me speak to something very specific. In the coming days, you may feel a pull to revisit something you thought was finished. A conversation, an idea, a plan, or even a prayer you stopped praying. Do not assume this is regression. Sometimes God revisits what was paused, not because it failed, but because timing has matured. What once felt heavy will feel lighter now. What once felt confusing will make sense with surprising ease. This does not mean everything will suddenly become perfect. Alignment does not remove effort. It removes resistance. You will still move, but without the invisible weight that slowed you before. That weight has been lifted because it no longer serves your growth. Archangel Michael is also bringing protection to your discernment. Not every open door is yours. Not every invitation deserves your yes. You will begin to notice that some options no longer appeal to you, even if they once did. This is not loss. This is refinement. God is narrowing your focus so your energy is not scattered when precision is required. Hear this gently. You do not need to explain yourself to people who cannot see what God is building in you. Explanation drains what silence preserves. Let results speak when the time comes. For now, obedience is quiet. There is also a release happening in your inner dialogue. Old accusations you carried about yourself are losing their authority. Thoughts like "I missed my chance" or "it's too late" are being replaced with a deeper knowing that God's timing does not expire. Archangel Michael enforces truth where lies once lingered. You are not late. You are not behind. You are aligned. This blessing will not arrive with chaos. It will arrive with order. Things will begin to line up without force. The right information at the right moment. The right connection at the right time. Do not rush these alignments by trying to control the outcome. Control is often fear disguised as responsibility. Trust is responsibility surrendered correctly. You may also notice that rest becomes easier. Sleep deeper. Breathing slower. That is not coincidence. Your nervous system is responding to spiritual safety. When heaven secures something, the body often relaxes before the mind understands why. Let me prepare you for something important. When this blessing begins to show itself outwardly, not everyone will celebrate with you. Some will misunderstand. Some will grow distant. That is not betrayal. It is differentiation. God often separates gently before he elevates visibly. Allow that separation without bitterness. You are not losing people. You are being positioned among those who can walk with you into what comes next. Archangel Michael stands not only as a protector, but as a witness. What is unfolding in your life now will be marked as divinely ordered. You will look back and realize that nothing was wasted. Even the waiting had purpose. There will be a moment soon where you are tempted to second-guess what you sensed earlier. That is when you must remember this. Heaven does not repeat messages without reason. This word has followed you because it must anchor you. When doubt whispers, return to stillness, not striving. Stillness will remind you of what is true. You are entering a phase where obedience will feel natural instead of forced. Decisions will come with peace instead of pressure. That is one of the clearest signs that the blessing has begun to move. Remain present. Remain grounded. Remain open. Because what comes next is not about what you will receive, but about who you are becoming as you receive it. Beloved child, now the message moves into a place of inner alignment, because before heaven changes what surrounds you, it always confirms what is forming within you. Archangel Michael does not rush this stage, for it is here that strength becomes rooted and clarity becomes permanent. What you are sensing now is not imagination. It is recognition. Your spirit recognizes what your mind is still learning to trust. There has been a quiet rebuilding taking place inside you. not loud, not dramatic. Piece by piece, God hath been restoring confidence where disappointment once lived. You may not have noticed it happening, but you respond differently now. Situations that once unsettled you no longer have the same power. Words that once cut deeply no longer define you. This is not emotional numbness. This is spiritual maturity. Archangel Michael has been reinforcing your inner boundaries. Where you once overextended, you now pause. Where you once doubted, you now discern. This shift is essential because the blessing coming toward you requires stewardship, not survival. God does not pour abundance into chaos. He pours it into vessels that can carry weight without cracking. You are entering a season where clarity will replace confusion, but clarity also brings responsibility. You will see more clearly what aligns with you and what does not. This may feel uncomfortable at first, because familiarity often disguises itself as safety. But heaven is inviting you into a deeper kind of peace, one that does not depend on external approval. Let me speak to something you may not have fully acknowledged. You have outgrown certain versions of yourself. Old coping mechanisms, old patterns of shrinking, old ways of explaining your worth. They served you once, but they cannot go where you are going. This blessing requires you to stand fully present, not half hidden. Archangel Michael is not asking you to become someone new. He is calling you to stop abandoning who you already are. That is the refinement happening now. You are learning to stay with yourself instead of leaving when pressure rises. There is also healing happening in how you view God. Some of your prayers in the past were shaped by fear rather than trust. You asked carefully. You hoped quietly. But now, there is a shift toward boldness, not arrogance but assurance. You are beginning to believe that God delights in blessing you, not tolerating you. That belief changes everything. This is why this moment matters so deeply. The blessing with your name on it responds to identity alignment. It flows where self-worth and obedience meet. When you no longer beg for what God already promised, you step into partnership rather than pursuit. You may notice that your desires are changing. What once felt urgent now feels unnecessary. What once felt important now feels optional. This is not loss of ambition. This is clarity of direction. God is refining your focus so your energy is not wasted on distractions that look good but lead nowhere. Archangel Michael stands as a stabilizing presence in this phase. You may feel drawn to quiet reflection, to solitude that does not feel lonely, to moments where you simply sit without needing answers. These moments are strengthening you more than constant activity ever could. There is also a lesson unfolding around trust. Not blind trust in people, but grounded trust in God's timing. You are learning that you do not have to rush outcomes to feel secure. Security is becoming internal, not circumstantial. That is rare, and that is powerful. Let me prepare you for what may come next. As your alignment deepens, opportunities will begin to appear that test your discernment rather than your ability. Some options will look appealing but feel slightly off. Pay attention to that feeling. It is not fear. It is wisdom. Archangel Michael sharpens discernment before expansion so you do not mistake access for assignment. Do not be surprised if certain conversations feel unnecessary now. You may find yourself less interested in explaining your journey or defending your choices. This is not pride. This is peace. When you know where you are going, you do not need everyone to understand. There is a quiet confidence being established in you. Not loud, not boastful, steady. This confidence will carry you through moments where external validation is absent. It will anchor you when results are still forming. Remember this truth. God often does his deepest work in the unseen. By the time others notice the blessing, it has already settled within you. That is why this stage matters so much. Archangel Michael remains near, not to intimidate, but to affirm. You are not walking this path alone. You are being guided with precision and care. As this alignment continues, remain gentle with yourself. Growth does not require harshness. Obedience does not require exhaustion. Let grace shape your pace, because what comes next will not demand more striving from you. It will invite more trust. Beloved one, now the message enters a decisive phase, because alignment that is formed inwardly must eventually be expressed outwardly. Archangel Michael does not only prepare hearts, he also prepares pathways. What you are stepping into now is a season where your inner clarity will begin to influence your external choices in visible ways. This is where faith quietly becomes action without force. You may already sense it. A subtle but firm inner signal guiding your decisions. Not loud commands, not dramatic signs. Just a steady knowing that says this way, or not this time. That is discernment maturing. Heaven is no longer correcting you after the fact. He is guiding you before missteps occur. That is progress. There will be moments ahead where you are presented with options that look good on the surface but feel heavy underneath. Pay attention to that weight. Archangel Michael sharpens your sensitivity so you do not confuse opportunity with assignment. What is meant for you will feel aligned even if it stretches you. What is not meant for you will feel urgent but draining. This is also a season where your words carry more authority than before. Not because you speak louder, but because you speak from alignment. You may notice that when you speak truth calmly, situations shift. When you set boundaries gently, they hold. This is not coincidence. Heaven backs words that come from clarity rather than reaction. Let me speak honestly with you. As your life begins to align, some people will sense the shift before they understand it. They may respond with curiosity, distance, or even subtle resistance. Do not internalize that. Alignment often exposes imbalance around you. Stay grounded. Stay kind. Stay clear. Archangel Michael is guarding you from unnecessary conflict in this phase. Silence will do more than explanation. Consistency will speak louder than defense. Let your peace be your response. And now hear this carefully. The blessing with your name on it is not arriving to elevate you above others. It is arriving to position you accurately. Accuracy matters more than visibility. God values placement over applause. Where you are being led will make sense in hindsight, not always in the moment. This is why patience is being strengthened in you. Not passive waiting, but active trust. You are learning to move when prompted and pause when uncertain. That balance will protect you from burnout and regret. As this message continues to reach you, understand that your engagement here is part of that alignment. When you stay connected, when you acknowledge what resonates, you are participating in the flow rather than watching from a distance. If this word has been steadying you, grounding you, or awakening something inside you, let that be known. Like this message. Share it with someone who may need reassurance right now. Leave a comment so your presence is marked. Subscribe so you remain connected to what unfolds next. This is not about promotion. It is about participation. God often uses simple acts to confirm readiness. Obedience is rarely complicated, but it is always intentional. You may also feel prompted to support this space energetically by staying engaged. When messages like this move freely, they reach those who feel unseen and unheard. Your interaction becomes part of someone else's confirmation. Now, prepare yourself for an important internal test. As things begin to align, you may feel tempted to rush the outcome. Resist that urge. Speed can disrupt precision. Archangel Michael enforces order, not haste. What is being built is stable, not fragile. It does not require constant checking or forcing. There will be days when nothing dramatic seems to happen. Those days are not empty. They are consolidating what has already shifted. Growth often looks quiet before it looks obvious. Let me remind you of something vital. You are not responsible for managing every detail of what is coming. You are responsible for staying aligned. God handles outcomes. You handle obedience. A division of responsibility brings peace. As this season unfolds, your intuition will become one of your greatest assets. Trust it. It hath been refined through experience, prayer, and patience. Archangel Michael does not override your discernment. He strengthens it. Before you let your attention drift, stay with this moment a little longer. What is about to unfold next will explain how to recognize the first tangible signs of this blessing without missing them or mislabeling them. Hold on. This next unfolding will bring clarity you did not know you needed. Beloved child, now the message moves into recognition, because what heaven releases must be seen correctly in order to be received fully. Many people miss divine movement not because it does not arrive, but because it arrives quietly, wrapped in ordinary moments. Archangel Michael is guiding you now so you do not overlook what is beginning to surface. The first signs of this blessing will not announce themselves with noise. They will come as subtle confirmations. A sense of rightness where there was once uncertainty. A door opening without struggle. A conversation flowing with unexpected ease. These moments may seem small, but they are deliberate. God often confirms His will through peace before He confirms it through provision. You may notice that problems which once felt overwhelming begin to resolve with less effort. Not because you suddenly became stronger, but because resistance has been removed. Alignment reduces friction. When you are walking in the correct direction, the terrain responds differently beneath your feet. Archangel Michael is also helping you distinguish between distraction and redirection. Not every interruption is a delay. Some interruptions are divine course corrections meant to protect you from wasted energy. You will begin to sense when something is truly urgent and when it only feels urgent because of habit or pressure. This discernment is critical now. The blessing carrying your name will require focused attention. Not obsessive focus, but intentional presence. Multitasking will feel less appealing. You will naturally gravitate toward what matters most and release what drains you without guilt. Let me speak to the emotional side of this transition. As clarity increases, you may feel moments of grief for past versions of yourself. Not regret, but release. You are honoring who you were while stepping into who you are becoming. That process is sacred. Do not rush it. Do not suppress it. Let it complete its work gently. Archangel Michael stands near during this phase because emotional transitions can blur perception if not guarded. He is helping you stay grounded so emotions inform you rather than control you. Balance is being restored. You may also notice a change in how you respond to uncertainty. Where you once needed answers immediately, you now tolerate not knowing without panic. This is a sign of trust deepening. God is teaching you that uncertainty is not absence. It is space for faith to breathe. There will be moments when you question whether you are imagining this shift. That is natural. Growth often feels subtle from the inside. But pay attention to your reactions. Your calm. Your patience. Your restraint. These are evidence of internal change long before external confirmation arrives. Another sign to watch for is repetition. Similar messages appearing through different sources. themes resurfacing in conversations, readings were quiet thoughts. This is not coincidence. Heaven repeats what matters, so it anchors deeply. Archangel Michael ensures that what is meant for you does not pass by unnoticed. At the same time, do not chase signs. Chasing creates anxiety. Recognition creates peace. What is meant for you will intersect with you naturally as you remain present. There is also a strengthening of courage happening within you. Not dramatic bravery, but steady confidence. You will find it easier to say no when needed and yes when aligned. Boundaries will feel less confrontational and more compassionate. This balance protects both your energy and your integrity. Let me clarify something important. The blessing with your name on it does not remove challenges from your life. It changes how challenges affect you. Problems may still arise, but they will no longer define your direction. You will address them without losing momentum. Archangel Michael's protection in this season is subtle but firm. He is guarding your focus, guarding your peace, guarding your timing. You may feel less reactive to external noise. That is intentional. Noise distracts. Silence clarifies. As you move forward, there will be moments when you feel called to step back rather than push forward. Utter those moments. Rest is not retreat. Reflection is not a hesitation. Sometimes the most obedient action is stillness. You are learning to trust the rhythm God is setting for you. Not the pace others expect, not the speed you once forced, but a rhythm that sustains growth without exhaustion. This stage is about integration, allowing what you have learned, healed, and discerned to settle into daily life. When integration is complete, action becomes effortless. Archangel Michael remains attentive, ensuring that nothing meant to harm your progress slips through unnoticed. You are not vulnerable right now. You are fortified. Stay aware. Stay open. Stay grounded. Because what comes next will not ask whether you are ready, it will reveal that you already are. Beloved one, now the message reaches a turning point, because recognition naturally leads into activation. What you have been sensing, discerning, and quietly integrating is not meant to remain internal. Archangel Michael stands at this threshold with you, not to push, but to witness the moment when readiness becomes movement. This is where alignment begins to express itself in visible, undeniable ways. There is a reason your awareness has sharpened so much recently. Heaven does not heighten perception without intention. You are being prepared to respond when the moment arrives, not react after it passes. The blessing with your name on it is no longer approaching. It is positioning itself. A distinction matters. Approaching still allows delay. Positioning signals imminence. You may feel a subtle pressure now, not stressful, but directional. A sense that something is about to require your agreement. Not forceful, non-dramatic, but clear. This is how God often moves with those he trusts. He does not overwhelm them with noise. He invites them into cooperation. Archangel Michael's presence here is about authorization. Heaven has already approved what is unfolding. The final permission comes through your response. That response may not look like a grand decision. It may look like choosing peace over panic, integrity over convenience, obedience over explanation. Small responses carry large authority when they are aligned. Let me speak clearly about this stage. The blessing will begin to express itself through opportunities that require discernment more than effort. You will not need to chase them. They will come into your awareness naturally. Your role will be to recognize which ones resonate with peace rather than pressure. You may notice an increase in invitations, ideas, or possibilities. Do not interpret this as a command to say yes to everything. Archangel Michael sharpens your discernment so you can say yes selectively. Precision protects power. There is also a release happening around fear of missing out. You are learning that what is meant for you cannot bypass you. That truth brings rest. When rest is present, clarity thrives. At the same time, heaven is watching how you steward attention. Where you focus now determines what strengthens. Distraction weakens alignment. Presence reinforces it. This is why moments of quiet awareness are becoming more valuable to you than constant stimulation. You may also feel an urge to create space, physically, emotionally, or spiritually. Clearing clutter, simplifying schedules, releasing commitments that no longer align. This is not withdrawal. This is preparation. God often clears space before He fills it. Archangel Michael stands guard over this clearing process. Nothing essential will be lost. Only what no longer supports your assignment will fall away. And now hear this carefully. The activation of this blessing does not require perfection. It requires willingness. Willingness to trust. Willingness to pause when prompted. Willingness to move when nudged. You have already demonstrated that willingness by staying present through this message. This is why heaven responds now. There is a sacred exchange taking place. As you release control, God releases clarity. As you release fear, God releases favor. This exchange is happening quietly, but its effects will be lasting. Before we go further, there is a moment of recognition and agreement that must be sealed. This is not ritual for ritual's sake. It is alignment expressed outwardly. Type "I step into divine timing" in the comments if you feel this message aligning with your spirit. Blessing code 888 has now been activated. I am speaking directly to those who sense that this word is bigger than a single moment, bigger than one life. When you support this mission, you are not giving to a platform. You are helping heaven reach hearts that are standing where you once stood, waiting for confirmation that God still sees them. The word declares that when you sow generously, heaven opens its storehouses, and I feel God saying to you right now, what you release will not return empty. This message about a blessing carrying your name must travel where despair has tried to settle, and your support becomes the vessel God uses. I am inviting you personally to respond, not out of obligation, but out of alignment. As you give through Super Thanks channel membership, or the PayPal link placed in the description, I speak acceleration, protection, and clarity over your life. Obey this prompting now, because this is not donation. It is participation in a divine assignment. Stay grounded in this moment, because what unfolds next will reveal how heaven confirms activation through unexpected but undeniable evidence. Beloved child, now the message moves into confirmation, because activation is always followed by evidence. Heaven never stirs alignment without allowing it to be recognized in the natural realm. Archangel Michael remains present here, not to announce loudly, but to ensure that what unfolds cannot be dismissed as coincidence. What you are about to experience will not require convincing. It will carry its own clarity. In this stage, confirmation does not arrive as spectacle. It arrives as consistency. You will begin to notice that things which once felt unstable now hold firm. Decisions you make will have fewer consequences that need repairing. Paths you choose will feel supported rather than resisted. This is not because life has suddenly become easy, but because alignment has reduced unnecessary friction. One of the clearest confirmations will be peace in motion. You will be moving forward, yet not feeling rushed. Acting, yet not anxious. This balance is rare, and it is intentional. Archangel Michael guards this balance so you do not confuse calm with stagnation or urgency with purpose. Pay attention to how your body responds in this season. Where there was tension, there will be ease. Where there was restlessness, there will be focus. These are physical confirmations of spiritual order being restored. The body often recognizes alignment before the mind explains it. You may also notice that certain prayers you stopped praying begin to answer themselves. Not dramatically, but naturally. Situations align. Resources appear. Conversations unfold at the right moment. These are not delayed miracles. They are timely ones. God is showing you that nothing was forgotten, only reserved. Another form of confirmation will come through clarity and communication. You will find it easier to express yourself without over-explaining. Words will land more cleanly. Misunderstandings will decrease. This is because when alignment increases internally, expression stabilizes externally. Archangel Michael is also reinforcing protection around your focus. You may feel less drawn into drama, comparison, or unnecessary debates. What once distracted you now feels unimportant. This is not detachment from life. It is discernment at work. You are conserving energy for what matters. There may be moments when you look around and realize that your environment has subtly changed. Not everything, but enough to feel different. People who no longer align may drift away without conflict. New connections may form without effort. This is alignment reorganizing your surroundings. Let me prepare you for an important truth. Confirmation does not mean completion. It means continuation. God confirms direction before He completes outcomes so you can walk forward with confidence rather than fear. Do not expect everything to resolve instantly. Expect things to unfold steadily. You may feel an urge to rush ahead once confirmation appears. Resist that impulse. Confirmation is not a signal to sprint. It is a signal to trust the pace being set. Archangel Michael enforces patience here because premature acceleration can strain what is meant to mature naturally. Another confirmation you will experience is internal authority. You will trust your discernment more deeply. Second guessing will lose its grip. This does not mean you will never question. It means questions will no longer destabilize you. You will seek wisdom without surrendering confidence. There may also be a shift in how you handle uncertainty. Instead of needing immediate answers, you will allow space for unfolding. This is not passivity. It is faith refined. You are learning that God often works best when you do not crowd the process. Pay attention to repeated confirmations. Similar themes appearing through different channels. Messages aligning unexpectedly. Thoughts resonating with external input. Heaven often confirms direction through repetition because repetition anchors truth. At the same time, do not become obsessed with looking for signs. Obsession creates pressure. Recognition creates peace. What is meant to confirm you will arrive without strain. Archangel Michael remains vigilant here because confirmation can sometimes tempt pride or fear. Pride rushes ahead. Fear freezes. Alignment walks steadily. Stay in that steadiness. You may also feel gratitude rising unexpectedly. Not tied to a specific event, but to a general sense of rightness. Gratitude is often the soul's response to alignment. Let it flow. Gratitude strengthens what God is building. There will be moments when old thoughts try to resurface. Doubts from past seasons. Fear shaped by previous disappointments. When they arise, do not fight them aggressively. Simply acknowledge that they no longer have authority. Alignment has shifted your position. This stage is about trust being confirmed through experience. You trusted the message. You stayed present. Now life begins to echo that trust back to you. Archangel Michael stands as witness that what is unfolding is not accidental. Heaven is involved. Timing is intentional. Direction is secure. Remain attentive, not anxious. Remain grounded, not guarded. Because what comes next will ask you to engage more actively with what has been confirmed, and that engagement will open the door to expansion beyond what you expected. Beloved one, now the message moves into engagement, because confirmation invites participation. What heaven has established in alignment now calls for your cooperation, not through effort alone, but through conscious presence. Archangel Michael remains near, ensuring that what you step into is not overwhelming, but ordered. This is where faith becomes livid, not just felt. You are entering a phase where your choices begin to echo louder than your intentions. Not because pressure has increased, but because clarity has. When clarity is present, decisions matter more, not in a fearful way, but in a purposeful one. You are no longer wandering through options, you are responding to direction. There will be moments when you sense a gentle push to engage more fully with life again, to show up where you once held back, to speak where you once stayed quiet, to step forward where you once waited for permission. That permission has already been granted. Archangel Michael does not escort hesitation, he escorts obedience. At the same time, this is not a call to overextend. Engagement does not mean exhaustion. It means intentional action aligned with peace. You are learning to recognize the difference between effort that drains and effort that fulfills. The latter will mark this season. You may notice that opportunities now require clarity of values more than capability. You are capable of many things, but not everything aligns with your assignment. Discernment will guide you here. When something aligns, it will feel right even if it challenges you. When something does not align, it will feel heavy even if it flatters you. Archangel Michael strengthens your resolve in these moments. Saying no will feel easier. Saying yes will feel cleaner. Confusion will lose its grip because alignment simplifies choices. Let me speak directly to your influence. You may not see yourself as influential, but influence is already flowing through you. Through your presence. Through your words. Through your decisions. People are watching how you move through this season, even if they do not say it out loud. Your calm, your steadiness, your discernment, they speak. This is why engagement matters. Not just privately, but openly. When you engage with what resonates, you affirm alignment not only for yourself, but for others who are watching quietly. If this message has been grounding you, strengthening you, or helping you recognize what God is doing, do not keep that silent. Like this message, share it with someone who may need reassurance. Leave a comment that marks your presence. Subscribe so you remain connected as this journey continues. These actions are simple, but they carry weight. You are not just consuming content, you are participating in a flow of confirmation that reaches beyond you. Someone else will recognize their own alignment because you chose to engage. And stay with this moment a little longer, because what is unfolding next will connect everything you have sensed so far in a way that brings deep clarity. This is where many people feel the shift most clearly. Hold on. As engagement increases, you may feel a renewed sense of responsibility. Not burden, but stewardship. God is entrusting you with awareness, and awareness comes with choice. You will begin to see where your time, energy, and focus truly matter. This is not restriction. This is refinement. Archangel Michael enforces boundaries here, not to limit you, but to protect what is growing. Distractions will feel more obvious. Misalignment will feel less tolerable. This is a sign of growth, not rigidity. You may also feel called to invest more intentionally in what feeds your spirit, quiet moments, reflective pauses, meaningful conversations. These are not luxuries, they are sustenance. Alignment requires nourishment. There will be moments when you are tempted to measure progress by visible results alone. Resist that temptation. Some of the most important progress is invisible at first. Internal stability, emotional resilience, spiritual confidence. These form the foundation for what will soon be visible. Engagement also means patience with the process. You are not late. You are not early. You are timely. God is not rushing you because He is not worried about outcomes. He is focused on formation. Archangel Michael's presence here assures you that nothing is slipping through the cracks. What is meant for you is being guarded until the right moment to be revealed fully. You may feel excitement rise alongside calm. That combination is rare and meaningful. It signals readiness without anxiety. Let that be your anchor. Remain engaged, not entangled. Present, not pressured. Open, not overwhelmed. Because what comes next will move from engagement into expansion, and expansion always requires a steady foundation. Beloved child, now the message enters expansion, because what has been aligned, confirmed, and engaged must now be allowed to grow. Expansion does not always look like sudden increase. Often, it begins as quiet capacity. Archangel Michael stands with you here, not to rush growth, but to stabilize it so what expands does not collapse under its own weight. This stage may feel different from what you expected. Expansion is not always excitement. Sometimes it feels like stretching, like being asked to hold more awareness, more responsibility, more trust than before. That stretching is not strain, it is strengthening. God never expands what He has not already prepared internally. You may notice that your perspective is widening. Situations you once viewed narrowly now appear layered. You understand people more deeply, even when you do not agree with them. You see patterns instead of isolated events. This expanded perception is not meant to burden you. It is meant to free you from reaction. When understanding increases, reactivity decreases. Archangel Michael's role in this phase is to keep expansion orderly. Without order, growth becomes overwhelming. You may feel prompted to structure your days differently, to simplify routines, to become more intentional with time. This is not control. It is wisdom emerging naturally. There is also an expansion happening in your tolerance for uncertainty. You no longer need immediate resolution to feel secure. You are learning that God works in layers, and not all layers are revealed at once. This patience is not passive. It is active trust, and it is powerful. You may experience moments where old limitations try to reassert themselves. Thoughts like "this is too much" or "I'm not ready" may surface briefly. Do not be alarmed. These thoughts are echoes, not indicators. They belong to a version of you that no longer leads. Acknowledge them, then return to what you know is true. Expansion also brings discernment about where not to grow. Not every area of life needs equal investment. You are learning to prioritize what aligns with purpose rather than spreading yourself thin. Focus is a form of faith. When you focus, you are declaring trust that God will handle what you release. Archangel Michael guards this focus fiercely. Distractions may feel more intrusive now, not because there are more of them, but because you notice them more clearly. Awareness sharpens discernment. What once slipped by unnoticed now feels out of place. This is growth. You may also sense a deeper compassion forming within you. Not pity, but understanding. You recognize struggles in others without absorbing them. This balance allows you to care without caring. It allows you to help without depleting. That balance is a sign of maturity. Expansion does not isolate you, but it may reposition you. Some relationships will deepen. Others will remain friendly but distant. This is not rejection. It is alignment redistributing proximity. Let this happen without guilt. You are not responsible for maintaining closeness where growth requires space. There may be new responsibilities emerging quietly. Not all at once, but gradually. You will notice them because they feel meaningful rather than heavy. Purpose often reveals itself through responsibility that feels right, even when challenging. Archangel Michael ensures that you are not given more than you can carry. If something feels overwhelming, pause and assess. Overwhelm is not a sign of failure. It is a signal to adjust pace or focus. Expansion thrives in balance, not pressure. Another sign of this stage is increased clarity around what truly matters to you. Values sharpen. Priorities shift. You may find yourself less interested in superficial achievements and more drawn to depth and substance. This does not diminish ambition. It refines it. You are also expanding in spiritual confidence. Not arrogance, but assurance. You trust that God hears you. You trust that guidance is available. You trust that mistakes will not derail your purpose. This confidence allows you to move forward without fear of imperfection. Let me prepare you for a subtle challenge. As expansion continues, comparison may try to surface. Not because you are insecure, but because growth often brings visibility. Resist comparison gently. Comparison distorts perspective. Your path is calibrated specifically for you. No one else's timing or outcome applies to your assignment. Archangel Michael protects you from unnecessary comparison by anchoring you in truth. When you feel pulled to measure yourself against others, return to stillness. Stillness restores clarity. This stage is also about sustainability. God is not interested in short bursts of progress followed by burnout. He is building endurance in you. Endurance that allows you to remain aligned over time, not just in moments of inspiration. Expansion will continue as long as alignment is maintained. Alignment is not perfection. It is consistency in returning to truth. You are doing that now. Remain open. Remain grounded. Remain willing. Because what comes next will not be about growth anymore. It will be about fulfillment, and fulfillment carries its own sacred responsibility. My beloved child, now the message reaches fulfillment, because what heaven initiates with alignment always completes with purpose. This is not an ending. It is a sealing. Archangel Michael stands here not as a messenger of urgency now, but as a witness of completion. What was once delayed had been delivered. What was once guarded has now been entrusted. And what carried your name has officially been released into motion. Fulfillment does not always arrive with fireworks. Often, it arrives as peace that remains. A steadiness that does not fade when circumstances shift. You may notice that you are no longer waiting the way you once did. Not because everything has manifested fully, but because expectation has transformed into trust. That is fulfillment beginning internally before it completes externally. There is a quiet authority resting on you now. You move differently. You decide differently. You respond rather than react. This is not coincidence. This is evidence. Heaven does not place authority where identity is unstable. You have crossed a threshold where self-doubt no longer leads your choices. Archangel Michael's presence here confirms something important. What God has released will not be taken back. This blessing is not temporary. It is not conditional on perfection. It is sustained by alignment. As long as you remain grounded in truth, what has been activated will continue to unfold in layers. you may still face moments of uncertainty. Fulfillment does not eliminate mystery, but mystery no longer intimidates you. You have learned that not knowing everything does not mean God is absent. It means He is working beyond your sight. One of the clearest signs of fulfillment is rest that coexists with movement. You can move forward without panic. You can pause without fear. This balance is rare, and it is sacred. Redacted. There will be people who notice the change in you but cannot name it. They will feel it instead. Your presence will carry reassurance. Your words will carry weight without force. This is influence rooted in integrity. Do not underestimate the ripple effect of what had been sealed. Your obedience impacted more than your own life. Decisions you make from this point forward will unlock clarity for others, even when you are unaware of it. That is how God multiplies fulfillment. Quietly, relationally, intentionally. Archangel Michael now steps slightly back, not because protection is gone, but because stability has been established. You are no longer being shielded from the process. You are walking confidently within it. Remember this truth as you move forward. Fulfillment does not mean everything arrives at once. It means nothing essential is missing. What is still forming will form at the right time. What is still growing will grow without force. Stay attentive to peace. Peace will guide you more accurately than urgency ever could. Before this message fully closes, there is a final sacred agreement to be released. This is not for everyone. It is for those who know, without needing proof, that God has spoken to them through this journey. Type "I walk in divine fulfillment" in the comments if this message is aligned with your spirit. Blessing code 1212 is now sealed over your life. I am speaking now to those whose hearts are burning, not just for themselves, but for the unseen souls who are still searching for confirmation that God had not forgotten them. I feel led to say this clearly: when you support this work, you are not funding content, you are fueling calling. The Word declares that those who water others will themselves be watered, and God is speaking that promise over you right now. This message about a blessing with your name on it was never meant to stop with you. It was meant to travel through you into lives that are desperate for light. I am personally inviting you to respond in obedience, not later, not eventually, but now. As you give through Super Thanks, channel membership, or the PayPal donation link placed in the description, I release blessing over your obedience, increase over your household, and clarity over your next steps. Sow into this mission now, and watch how heaven responds to your yes with favor that follows you openly.